One of the most important pieces of gear in your studio are monitors. While they aren't sexy like a brand new keyboard or an amazing software synth, they're crucial in your creative process. Luckily, not all good monitors are expensive. I think the JBL 306 Mark IIIs are one of the best bargains on the market. Let's talk about it. So if you don't know, I like to talk about reviews from a real-world, practical perspective. I don't mind tech and specs, but at the end of the day, I want to know, how does it perform in the real world? So let's start with build quality and design. Seeing how these are budget options, the build quality isn't anything amazing. They're solid in their build, they just aren't made from any special materials like you might find in higher end models. As far as design, JBL offers their waveguide technology, which is to help offer a wide sweet spot, precise imaging, and good dynamic range. Their subwoofer port is on the back, which typically is not great for against the wall setups, but I have some panels behind mine, so it doesn't really bother me. Next is the speaker size, and these are 6.5 inch woofers. I personally love this size because it's a sweet spot for being able to represent bass without muddying up the low mid range. When you have 8 inch and above, it gets tough for manufacturers to nail that crossover frequency on a budget, so I tend to stick away from those budget options. For me, I think 6 to 7 inch woofers are the perfect compromise. The connectivity is pretty standard. You have your XLR and 1/4 inch inputs, and you have the ability to modify the frequency response in the back panel with the high and low shelf to bump up a couple dB or take away a couple dB. Nothing revolutionary, but definitely appreciated as it adds flexibility to the monitors. Now let's talk about sound quality. This is one of the most controversial topics with music gear because every listening environment is so drastically different and everyone's ears are so different, and so it's really hard to judge without listening for yourself. I'm just going to share with you my real world experience, and hopefully that helps you make a decision in your studio monitor journey. I've been mixing professionally for quite some time now, and I've mixed on everything from budget Yamaha HS50s all the way up to 10,000 focal and barefoot monitors. The Shape Twins are actually my favorite all-time monitor, but it's $2,400 for a pair, and that just isn't practical for the everyday musician. So I wanted to find an option that was a great bang for the buck but still delivered 80% of the results, and I believe that the JBL LSR 306 are those monitors. Here are some things that I really like about these monitors. First, I like their dynamic capability. No matter what volume I have them at, I can always hear the peaks in the music, which is really important for me when I'm trying to work a compressor. A lot of budget monitors tend to have built-in limiters and compression, as I'm sure these do as well, but others just seem to kick in earlier, so once you turn the volume up to like mid-volume, it's already compressing the sound through the speaker, and you can't really hear the peaks and the dynamics like you should be able to. These allow me to get the job done, and that's what matters in the budget range. As far as frequency response, it's been good enough for me. Like I said, I don't get too much into the tech specs because at the end of the day, I'm looking for monitors that I can understand. Monitors can have the flattest frequency response, but if you don't know how to learn a room and learn a speaker, it's all pointless. I think when choosing monitors, you should get monitors that counteract your natural biases. I tend to be a clarity freak, and these monitors offer lots of it, so it stops me from over brightening my top because these monitors already have a nice bright top end. Vice versa, if you know you love bass, get some monitors that are naturally bass heavy because it'll help counteract your bias to add too much bass. Around 6K on up is a little spicy on these monitors, but again, I've learned that about them, so I work around that. And that's okay with me because the low mid-range is the most important area to get right in my opinion. I can clearly hear the bass and I can clearly hear the sub, and it's not muddy and it's not overpowering or inaccurate. Another thing that I like, kind of an added bonus, is the fact that they're pleasing to listen to. I used to work a lot on the Yamaha HS series, and while they're good monitors, they're very clinical, and I would fatigue from those very fast. They just weren't pleasant to listen to, and I do a lot of production, and I found myself not really wanting to produce because I just didn't like the clinical sound. When you're producing, you gotta be able to get into the flow of the music and enjoy what you're hearing, and that further inspires you to keep creating. But with very clinical monitors, you just don't get that same inspiration. I find the JBLs are a very nice balance between allowing me to produce while not sacrificing the transparency and accuracy that I need to still get good mixes. So my final thoughts are, it's hard to say what the perfect budget monitor is because there's so many different variables like your room, your treatment, the placement of your speakers, your personal ear and how you hear things. It goes on and on and on. But what I can say is, having mixed on $10,000 speakers, these get 80 to 85% of the job done, and they're only $200 a pair. I've linked them in the description below if you want to check them out. You can even get them on an easy 3-payment plan from Sounds. I think these speakers are a great value and definitely worth checking out. Most music stores have a 30-day return policy, so it's definitely worth the spend. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a comment below of what you want to see next, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.